Kate sat on her bedroom floor with the white envelope in her hands. Her heart was beating so fast she could hear it in her ears. The letter from Cambridge University had arrived that morning. She had been waiting for this moment for months, but now that it was here, she felt scared to open it. Her mother had called up the stairs 3 times already. Kate knew her parents were just as nervous as she was. They had watched her study every night for the past 2 years. They saw her give up parties and movie nights with friends. They knew how much this meant to her. Kate took a deep breath and carefully opened the envelope. Her eyes scanned the page quickly, looking for the most important words. Then she saw them. Congratulations. Acceptance. Scholarship. Full ride. She had done it. She was going to Cambridge University. Kate should have felt happy. She should have been jumping up and down, screaming with joy. But instead she felt a heavy weight in her stomach. All she could think about was William. William worked at the small coffee shop downtown where Kate went every morning before school. He was 2 years older than her and went to the community college nearby. They had been dating for 3 years now. 3 wonderful years that felt like a lifetime. Kate remembered their first conversation like it was yesterday. She had been so nervous ordering her coffee that she stuttered when she tried to say her name. William had smiled at her with the kindest eyes she had ever seen. He wrote her name on the cup with a little heart next to it. That little heart had started everything. Now Kate stared at the acceptance letter, and all she could think about was how far away Cambridge was from their small town. It was in a different state. It was a 5-hour drive. It might as well have been on the other side of the world. She heard her phone buzz with a text message. It was from William asking if she wanted to meet at their favorite spot in the park after he got off work. Kate looked at the message and felt tears starting to form in her eyes. How was she going to tell him? Kate walked downstairs to show her parents the letter. Her mother screamed and hugged her tight. Her father smiled bigger than she had seen in years. They were so proud of her. They started talking about everything she would need for college and how exciting it would be. But Kate barely heard them. Her mind was somewhere else. She was thinking about William and how much she loved him. She was thinking about all the plans they had made together. They had talked about William transferring to a 4-year college nearby. They had dreamed about getting married someday and having a little house with a garden. None of those dreams included Kate being hundreds of miles away. Kate spent the rest of the day in a daze. She tried to feel excited about Cambridge, but the sadness kept taking over. She loved William so much it hurt sometimes. He made her laugh when she was sad. He listened to all her problems and always knew what to say. He was her best friend and the love of her life. How could she choose between her dreams and her heart? That evening, Kate walked to the park where William was waiting for her on their special bench. He took one look at her face and knew something big had happened. He reached for her hand and squeezed it gently. Kate looked into his warm brown eyes and felt her heart breaking already. She had not even told him yet, but she knew their world was about to change forever. She pulled out the letter with shaking hands. William read it slowly. When he finished, he looked up at Kate with a mixture of pride and sadness in his eyes. He knew what this meant just as much as she did. They sat in silence for a long time, holding hands and watching the sunset. Both of them knew that everything was different now. Their future together was no longer certain, but neither of them was ready to say it out loud yet. The scholarship letter lay between them on the bench like a bridge to Kate's future and a wall between their hearts. William woke up the next morning with a heavy feeling in his chest. He had barely slept all night thinking about Kate and the acceptance letter. He kept seeing the look on her face when she showed him the paper. It was a mixture of excitement and fear that made his heart ache. He got ready for work at the coffee shop, moving slower than usual. Everything reminded him of Kate. The smell of coffee made him think of their first meeting. The morning sunshine coming through his window reminded him of how her face lit up when she smiled. William arrived at work early and started preparing for the morning rush. His boss, Mr. Henderson, noticed he was quieter than usual, but did not say anything. William was grateful for that. He was not ready to talk about what was happening. At exactly 8:15, Kate walked through the door just like she did every morning. William looked up from the coffee machine and their eyes met. For a moment, it felt like nothing had changed. She was still his Kate with her long brown hair and bright green eyes. She was still wearing the blue sweater he had given her for her birthday. But something was different. There was a sadness in her smile that had not been there before. Kate ordered her usual coffee, and William made it exactly the way she liked. It extra cream, no sugar. He wrote her name on the cup, but this time he did not draw a heart. His hand hesitated over the cup for a moment, then he just handed it to her. They did not talk much. Kate said good morning and asked how he slept. William said fine, even though it was not true. They both knew they were avoiding the real conversation they needed to have. After Kate left for school, William could not focus on his work. He made 3 wrong orders and spilled coffee on his apron twice. Every customer who came in seemed to notice something was wrong with him. During his lunch break, William walked to the park where he and Kate had sat the night before. The bench was empty, but he could still picture them sitting there holding hands. He could still see the acceptance letter lying between them like a wall. William thought about Kate's dreams. Ever since he had known her, she wanted to be a teacher. She loved working with children and had volunteered at the elementary school every weekend for 2 years. She was smart and kind and patient. She would make an amazing teacher. Cambridge University was one of the best schools in the country for education. If Kate went there, she would have opportunities that their small town could never give her. She would meet professors who could help her career. She would make connections that would last her whole life. William knew he should be happy for her. He loved Kate and wanted what was best for her. But he also knew what this meant for them. Long-distance relationships were hard. He had seen his older brother try it with his girlfriend when she went away to college. It had not worked out. William did not have much money. He was working at the coffee shop to pay for community college and help his family with bills. His parents had been struggling since his father lost his job last year. William could not afford to visit Kate at Cambridge very often. He could not even afford a car that would make the 5-hour drive. Kate would be living in a completely different world. She would meet new people and have new experiences. She would grow and change in ways that William might not understand. How could their relationship survive all of that? But William also could not imagine his life without Kate. She had been part of his daily routine for 3 years. She was the person he talked to about everything. She was the one who encouraged him when he felt down about his family's money problems. She believed in him when he did not believe in himself. That afternoon, William made a decision. When Kate came to the coffee shop after school, he would tell her exactly how he felt. He would be honest about his fears, but also about his love for her. They would figure out what to do together. Kate walked in at 3:30 looking tired from her classes. William took a deep breath and walked over to her table. It was time to have the conversation they had been avoiding. The future of their relationship depended on what they said to each other in the next few minutes. Kate looked up from her textbook when William sat down across from her at the small table. She could see the worry lines around his eyes and knew he had been thinking about her acceptance letter all day. She had been thinking about it too during every class and could barely concentrate on anything else. William reached across the table and took her hand. His fingers were warm from making coffee all day, and they felt safe and familiar. Kate squeezed his hand back and waited for him to speak first. "I have been thinking about us," William said quietly. "About what happens when you go to Cambridge. I want to make this work, Kate. I want us to work." Kate felt relief wash over her. She'd been so scared that William would tell her they should break up before she even left. She had been preparing herself for that conversation all day and dreading it. "I want us to work too," Kate said. "I love you, William. I do not want to lose you." They spent the next hour talking about every possible solution they could think of. William could take the bus to visit Kate on weekends when he had enough money saved up. Kate could come home during school breaks, and they could spend all their time together. They could video call every night and text throughout the day. William even suggested that maybe he could transfer to a college near Cambridge after he finished his classes at the community college. Kate's eyes lit up at that idea. If William could move closer to her, then maybe they really could make it work. But as they talked more, the problems became clearer. The bus trip to Cambridge would take 8 hours each way and cost money William did not have. Kate would need to focus on her studies and might not always be free to talk. And transferring to a college near Cambridge would be expensive, and William's grades were not good enough for scholarships. Kate suggested she could get a job at Cambridge to help pay for William's visits. But William shook his head. He did not want Kate working when she should be studying. This was her chance to focus completely on her education. "What if I do not go?" Kate said suddenly. "What if I stay here and go to the state university instead? I could still become a teacher and we could be together." William stared at her like she had said something crazy. "Kate, you cannot give up Cambridge for me. This is your dream. You have worked so hard for this. But you are important to me too," Kate said. "Maybe there will be other opportunities later." William knew Kate was scared just like he was. But he also knew she would regret it forever if she gave up this chance. Cambridge University was not just any school. It was one of the best in the world. Students from their small town did not get opportunities like this very often. "No," Kate, William said firmly. "You are going to Cambridge. We will figure out how to make the distance work." Over the next few days, Kate and William researched everything they could about long-distance relationships. They read articles online about couples who had stayed together through college. They made schedules for when they would call each other. They even looked up the cheapest ways for William to travel to see Kate. Kate made a calendar marking all the school breaks when she could come home. William calculated how much money he would need to save for bus tickets. They were determined to have a plan that would keep them together. But late at night, when Kate was alone in her room, she wondered if they were just fooling themselves. She had heard stories about high school couples who tried to stay together when one went away to college. Most of those stories did not have happy endings. Kate looked at the acceptance letter on her desk and felt torn in half. Part of her was excited about the amazing education she would get at Cambridge. But another part of her was terrified of losing the person she loved most in the world. She picked up her phone to text William goodnight, like she did every evening. But instead of typing her usual message, she stared at the blank screen. How many more goodnight texts would they send each other before everything changed forever? Kate set her phone down without sending anything. Some questions were too scary to ask even to yourself. 3 weeks before Kate had to leave for Cambridge, she and William made a list of all the things they wanted to do together one last time. The list was written on a piece of paper that Kate kept folded in her wallet. Every time she looked at it, she felt her heart squeezed tight in her chest. They wanted to have dinner at their favorite restaurant downtown. They wanted to watch the sunset from the hill behind the high school. They wanted to go to the old movie theater and see whatever was playing, even if it was terrible. They wanted to walk through the park where they had their first real date. Most importantly, they wanted to spend an entire day at the lake where they had gone for Kate's birthday 2 years ago. That was the day William had told Kate he loved her for the first time. It was the day Kate knew she loved him back. Kate checked off each item on their list as they completed it. Having dinner at Romano's restaurant felt different than usual. The food tasted the same, but everything else felt heavy and sad. They tried to talk about normal things but kept falling into silence. Watching the sunset from the hill was beautiful, but Kate could not stop thinking about how many sunsets she would watch alone at Cambridge. William held her hand as the sky turned orange and pink, but she could feel the distance between them growing already. The old movie theater was showing a romantic comedy that made them both laugh. For 2 hours, Kate forgot about leaving. She felt like everything was normal again. But when the lights came on and they walked outside, Kate remembered that normal was ending soon. Walking through the park where they had their first date was the hardest thing on the list. Kate remembered how nervous William had been that day. He had brought her flowers and talked too fast because he was scared she would not like him. Now she knew every expression on his face and every tone of his voice. They sat on the same bench where they had talked for hours that first day. Kate tried to memorize everything about that moment. The way William's hair fell across his forehead. The way he played with her fingers when he was thinking. the way he looked at her like she was the most important person in the world. The day at the lake was perfect and terrible at the same time. The weather was warm and sunny. They packed sandwiches and spent hours swimming and lying on the dock. Kate wore the blue swimsuit that William said made her eyes look like emeralds. They talked about their favorite memories from the past 3 years. William reminded Kate about the time she got food poisoning, and he brought her soup every day for a week. Kate remembered when William's grandfather died and she held him while he cried. They took pictures with Kate's phone, but somehow the camera could not capture what they were really feeling. The photos looked happy, but Kate could see the sadness behind their smiles. As the sun started to set over the lake, William pulled Kate close to him. "This is our place," he said. "No matter what happens, this will always be our place." Kate nodded, but could not speak. She was trying not to cry because she did not want to ruin their perfect day. But inside her heart was breaking a little more with each passing hour. That night, Kate lay in bed thinking about how different her life was going to be in just 2 weeks. She would be sleeping in a dorm room with a stranger. She would be eating in a cafeteria with hundreds of people she did not know. She would be walking across a campus that was bigger than her entire hometown. Kate tried to imagine what her days would be like without William. No more morning coffee at his shop. No more text messages throughout the day. No more falling asleep on the phone together. No more hands to hold when she felt scared or excited. She picked up her phone and looked at all the pictures they had taken that week. In every photo, William was looking at her with so much love, it made her chest hurt. Kate wondered if anyone would ever look at her that way again. 2 weeks suddenly felt like no time at all. Kate wanted to slow down every moment and make it last longer. She wanted to hold on to William and their life together for as long as possible. But time kept moving forward whether she wanted it to or not. Each day brought her closer to the hardest goodbye she would ever have to say. Kate closed her eyes and tried to fall asleep. Tomorrow she would start packing her clothes and books. Tomorrow, she would start saying goodbye to the life she had always known. But tonight she could still pretend that nothing was going to change. With only 1 week left before Kate had to leave for Cambridge, the stress was starting to show on both of them. Kate had dark circles under her eyes from not sleeping well. William was more quiet than usual and kept forgetting things at work. Their conversations felt forced and awkward. Kate was trying to pack everything she would need for college while also spending time with William. She felt pulled in different directions and could not focus on anything properly. Her mother kept asking her questions about what to bring and what to leave behind. Kate snapped at her twice and immediately felt guilty. William was working extra hours at the coffee shop to save money for visiting Kate. But the longer hours meant less time together during their final week. When they did see each other, they were both tired and stressed. Small things that never used to bother them started causing arguments. On Tuesday evening, Kate and William went to dinner at a new restaurant outside of town. Kate had chosen it because she thought a change of scenery might help them feel more normal. But from the moment they sat down, everything felt wrong. The restaurant was loud and crowded. Their server was slow and kept getting their order mixed up. Kate's food was cold when it finally arrived, and William's was overcooked. They both tried to laugh about it, but neither of them was really in the mood to find anything funny. "You seem distracted," Kate said when William barely touched his dinner. "Are you okay?" William looked up from his plate with tired eyes. "I am fine, Kate. Just thinking about work stuff." But Kate could tell it was not work stuff. William was thinking about her leaving, just like she was thinking about it every minute of every day. The conversation felt heavy and uncomfortable. On the drive home, they got into their first real fight. Kate was trying to change the radio station when William reached over at the same time and their hands bumped. It was a tiny thing that should have meant nothing, but somehow it turned into an argument about everything else. "You do not even care that I am leaving," Kate said suddenly. "You are acting like it does not matter." William pulled over to the side of the road and turned off the car. "How can you say that, Kate? This is all I think about. I can barely sleep or eat or focus on anything else." "Then why do you feel so far away already?" Kate asked. "It is like you are pulling away from me before I even leave." William was quiet for a long moment. "Maybe I am," he said finally. Maybe it is easier than waiting for you to pull away from me first. Kate stared at him in shock. She had never heard William sound so bitter before. That is not fair, she said. I am not going to pull away from you. Come on, Kate, William said. You are going to meet new people and have new experiences. You are going to realize there is a whole world outside of this small town and outside of us. Kate felt tears starting to form in her eyes. So you are giving up on us before I even leave? I am being realistic, William said. Long-distance relationships do not work, Kate, especially when one person is going somewhere amazing and the other person is stuck here. They drove the rest of the way home in angry silence. Kate got out of the car without saying goodbye and went straight to her room. She threw herself on her bed and cried harder than she had since getting the acceptance letter. For the next 2 days, Kate and William did not talk to each other at all. Kate did not go to the coffee shop in the morning. William did not text her or call. Both of them were too proud and too hurt to reach out first. Kate's friends tried to convince her to apologize. They said William was just scared and did not mean what he said. But Kate felt like he had shown his true feelings. If he really loved her, he would fight for their relationship instead of giving up. William's co-workers at the coffee shop could see something was wrong but did not know what to say. Mr. Henderson finally asked if William wanted to talk about it. But William just shook his head and went back to making drinks. On Thursday night, Kate's mother came into her room and sat on the edge of the bed. Kate was lying there, staring at the ceiling and feeling miserable. You know, Kate, her mother said, gently. Sometimes people say things they do not mean when they are scared. Kate rolled over to face her mother. But what if he did mean it? What if he really thinks I am going to forget about him? Do you think you are going to forget about him? Her mother asked. Kate shook her head. Never. Then maybe you should tell him that, her mother said, before it is too late. Kate looked at her phone on the nightstand. She had written and deleted dozens of text messages to William over the past 2 days. She wanted to apologize, but also wanted him to apologize first. Time was running out for both of them. In 3 days, Kate would be gone. Did she really want to leave things like this between them? Kate picked up her phone and started typing a message to William. She was not sure what to say, but she knew she had to say something. Kate stared at her phone screen for 20 minutes trying to find the right words to text William. She typed and deleted message after message. Everything sounded wrong or too casual or too dramatic. Finally, she gave up and just wrote the simplest thing she could think of. I miss you. She hit send before she could change her mind. Then she waited, staring at her phone and hoping William would write back. 5 minutes passed. Then 10. Kate started to think William was going to ignore her message, but then her phone buzzed with his reply, I miss you too. Kate felt relief wash over her whole body. At least William was willing to talk to her. She wrote back quickly asking if they could meet at the park. William said yes, and they agreed to meet in an hour. Kate spent the entire hour getting ready and changing clothes 3 times. She wanted to look nice, but not like she was trying too hard. She settled on jeans and the green sweater William had complimented her on before. When Kate arrived at the park, William was already sitting on their bench looking nervous. He stood up when he saw her coming, and for a moment they just looked at each other. Kate could see that William had dark circles under his eyes too. I am sorry, Kate said before William could speak. I should not have said you do not care. I know, you care. William took a step closer to her. I am sorry too, Kate. I was scared and I said things I did not mean. I do not want to give up on us. They hugged then, and Kate felt like she could breathe properly for the first time in days. William's arms around her felt like home. She never wanted to let go of him again. They sat down on the bench and William took Kate's hands in his. I need to tell you something, he said. I have been pulling away because I am terrified. I am terrified that when you get to Cambridge you will realize I am not good enough for you. Kate looked at William in surprise. Not good enough for me. William, you are the best person I know. But I am not going to college like you are. William said, I am working at a coffee shop and taking classes at community college. You are going to meet professors and students who are so much smarter than me." Kate shook her head firmly. "Smart is not just about books and degrees, William. You are smart in ways that matter. You are kind and thoughtful, and you understand people. You make everyone around you feel better just by being yourself." William looked down at their joined hands. "But what if you meet someone at Cambridge who has more to offer you than I do?" Kate lifted William's chin so he would look at her. "I do not want someone who has more to offer me. I want you. I want your terrible jokes and the way you remember everything I tell you. I want how safe I feel when you hold my hand." They talked until late into the night, being more honest with each other than they had ever been before. William admitted he was jealous that Kate got to leave their small town when he felt stuck there. Kate admitted she was scared that college would change her in ways that would hurt their relationship, but they also talked about their love for each other and how much their relationship meant to both of them. They made promises to be patient and understanding while they figured out how to make long-distance work. Most importantly, they agreed not to waste their last few days together being angry or scared. They wanted to make beautiful memories that would help them through the hard times ahead. The next morning, Kate went to the coffee shop like she used to do every day. William made her usual order, and this time he drew a heart on the cup again. Kate smiled when she saw it, and William smiled back. That afternoon, they went shopping for things Kate would need in her dorm room. William helped her pick out new sheets and a small lamp for her desk. It felt strange buying things for a life that would not include him, but also exciting to imagine Kate in her new space. That evening, they cooked dinner together at Kate's house. Her parents were out, so they had the kitchen to themselves. They made pasta with the sauce William's grandmother had taught him to make. It was one of Kate's favorite meals. While they cooked, they talked about their plans for staying in touch. They would video call every Sunday evening. They would text each other good morning and good night every day. William would send Kate pictures of their town, and Kate would send him pictures of Cambridge. After dinner, they sat on Kate's front porch watching the stars come out. Kate leaned against William's shoulder and felt peaceful for the first time in weeks. They did not talk much, but the silence was comfortable now instead of awkward. "We are going to be okay," William said quietly. Kate nodded against his shoulder. "We are going to be okay." They both knew it would not be easy. Long-distance relationships required work and patience and faith, but they also knew their love was strong enough to try. Kate had 2 more days before she left for Cambridge. 2 more days to spend with the person who meant everything to her. She was determined to make every moment count. Kate woke up on her last day in town with a strange mixture of excitement and dread in her stomach. The sun was shining through her bedroom window, and she could hear birds singing outside. It felt like any other summer morning except that everything was about to change forever. She had planned to spend the entire day alone with William. They were going to have breakfast at the diner where they went on their second date. Then they would drive to the lake one more time. In the evening, they would watch the sunset from their favorite hill and then say goodbye. But when Kate checked her phone, she had 12 text messages from friends wanting to see her before she left. Her best friend Sarah was practically begging to take her to lunch. Her study group from school wanted to have a goodbye party at the park. Even people she barely talked to were asking to hang out. Kate felt overwhelmed. She appreciated that people cared about her, but all she wanted was to spend her last day with William. She tried to politely tell everyone she already had plans, but they kept insisting. When William picked her up for breakfast, he could see Kate was stressed. She explained about all the messages and invitations. William was disappointed too, but he did not want to be selfish. "Maybe we should do something with your friends," William said. "You might not see them for a long time. But I want to spend today with you," Kate said. "We only have 1 more day." William smiled and kissed her forehead. "We will have tonight, Kate, just you and me. Let your friends have a few hours with you this afternoon." So they changed their plans. William and Kate had breakfast together at the diner and talked quietly while sharing pancakes and orange juice. Then they drove to the lake for a few hours of swimming and sitting on the dock. At the lake, they mostly just held each other and watched the water. Kate tried to memorize the feeling of William's arms around her and the sound of his heartbeat. She wanted to remember everything perfectly. Around 2 o'clock, they drove back to town where Kate's friends were waiting at the park. Someone had brought balloons and a cake that said, "Good luck, Kate." Everyone wanted to take pictures and hear about her plans for Cambridge. Kate tried to be present and enjoy the attention, but part of her mind was always on William. He stayed close to her side but let her friends have most of her attention. Kate could see in his eyes that he felt like an outsider even though everyone liked him. The party lasted longer than Kate expected. People kept arriving and wanting to say goodbye. Her old teachers from high school showed up. Her neighbors came by. Even the mailman stopped to wish her luck. Kate felt grateful for all the love and support, but also frustrated that her last day was not going according to plan. She kept looking at William and trying to communicate with her eyes that she would rather be alone with him. Finally, around 6 o'clock, people started to leave. Kate hugged everyone goodbye and promised to stay in touch. When the last person left, Kate felt exhausted but also relieved. William had been quiet during most of the party, but now he took Kate's hand and led her away from the park. They walked to his car without saying much. Both of them were thinking about how little time they had left. They drove to their special hill behind the high school where they had watched so many sunsets together. The sky was starting to turn orange and pink. Kate and William climbed to the top of the hill and sat down in the grass. "This is better," Kate said, leaning against William's shoulder. "Just us." William wrapped his arms around her and kissed the top of her head. "I am going to miss this," he said. "I am going to miss you so much, Kate." Kate felt tears starting to form in her eyes, but she tried to hold them back. She did not want to spend their last sunset crying. Instead, she focused on the warmth of William's body next to hers and the beautiful colors spreading across the sky. They talked quietly about their favorite memories from the past 3 years. William reminded Kate about the time they got caught in the rain and had to hide under a bridge for 2 hours. Kate remembered when they went to the county fair and William won her a stuffed elephant that she still slept with. As the sun disappeared behind the trees, Kate knew their time was almost up. Tomorrow morning, she would get in her car and drive away from everything she had ever known. She would drive away from William. "Are you ready for tomorrow?" William asked gently. Kate thought about the question honestly. She was ready for the adventure and the education and the chance to follow her dreams, but she was not ready to leave William behind. "I am ready for Cambridge," Kate said, "but I am not ready to say goodbye to you." William turned to face her in the growing darkness. "Then let's not say goodbye," he said. "Let's say see you later instead." Kate smiled through her tears. "See you later sounds much better." They stayed on the hill until the stars came out, talking and holding each other. Kate knew she would remember this moment for the rest of her life. No matter what happened at Cambridge or in their future, she would always have this perfect last evening with William. Kate barely slept at all on her last night at home. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling and listening to the familiar sounds of her house. Her father's snoring from down the hall, the old refrigerator humming in the kitchen, the tree branch that always tapped against her window when the wind blew. At 5 in the morning, she gave up trying to sleep and got dressed. She wanted to look nice for William, but also comfortable for the long drive to Cambridge. She chose her favorite jeans and the blue sweater William had given her for Christmas. Kate looked around her bedroom one more time. Her walls were covered with photos of her and William and her friends. Her bookshelf was half empty now that she had packed most of her books for college. Her desk still had homework assignments from senior year that she had never thrown away. Everything looked the same but felt completely different. This room had been her safe space for 18 years. After today, it would just be a guest room that she visited during breaks from school. Downstairs, Kate's parents were already awake, making coffee and loading her car. Her mother had been crying on and off for the past week, but was trying to be strong this morning. Her father kept checking and rechecking that everything was packed properly. William arrived at 7:30, looking tired but dressed nicely in a button-down shirt Kate had never seen before. He hugged Kate's parents and shook her father's hand. They all stood around the packed car feeling awkward and emotional. Kate's mother made them all sit down for breakfast even though no one was really hungry. She had made Kate's favorite pancakes with blueberries and bacon. Everyone tried to make normal conversation, but it felt forced. After breakfast, Kate's father loaded the last few boxes into her car. Kate's mother gave her a bag of snacks for the road and made her promise to call as soon as she arrived at Cambridge. They hugged for a long time, and both of them cried a little. Then it was time for Kate and William to say goodbye. Kate's parents went back inside the house to give them privacy. Kate and William stood next to her car in the morning sunlight, not knowing what to say. They had talked about this moment so many times, but now that it was here, words felt impossible. Everything important had already been said. All that was left was the actual leaving. William reached into his pocket and pulled out a small wrapped box. He handed it to Kate with shaky hands. "I wanted to give you something to remember me by," he said quietly. Kate unwrapped the box and found a delicate silver bracelet with a small compass charm hanging from it. She looked up at William with tears in her eyes. "So you always know which direction leads back home," William explained. "Back to me." Kate put the bracelet on immediately and knew she would never take it off. It was perfect and thoughtful, and so very William. She wished she had thought to get him something special, but everything had happened so fast. "I love you," Kate whispered. "I love you too," William whispered back. They hugged then, and neither of them wanted to let go. Kate buried her face in William's shoulder and breathed in his familiar smell. She tried to memorize the feeling of his arms around her, and the sound of his heartbeat. William held Kate tightly and kissed the top of her head. He wanted to ask her one more time not to go, but he knew that would not be fair. Kate needed to follow her dreams, even if it meant breaking both their hearts. Finally, Kate pulled back and looked into William's brown eyes. She touched his face gently, like she was trying to memorize every detail. William caught her hand and kissed her palm. They both knew this was it. The moment they had been dreading for weeks. Kate had to get in her car and drive away. William had to let her go. Kate opened the car door and sat down behind the wheel. She rolled down the window and William leaned over to talk to her. For a moment they just looked at each other, trying to say everything with their eyes that they could not say with words. "Drive safely," William said finally. "Call me when you get there." "I will," Kate promised. "Take care of yourself." William stepped back from the car and Kate started the engine. She looked at him one more time, sitting in the driver's seat of the car that would take her away from him. William raised his hand in a small wave. Kate put the car in drive and slowly pulled out of her driveway. In her rearview mirror, she could see William standing in the same spot watching her leave. She drove to the end of her street and turned the corner. William was gone from her sight, but not from her heart. Kate touched the compass bracelet on her wrist and began the long drive toward her future. Kate drove for 5 hours with tears streaming down her face, but also a small smile on her lips. The first hour was the hardest because she kept thinking about William standing in her driveway watching her leave. But as the miles passed, she started to feel something else mixed in with the sadness, excitement. Kate had never been this far from home before. She had never seen landscapes like the ones flying past her car window. Rolling hills covered in trees she could not name. Small towns that looked nothing like her hometown. Rest stops full of people from places she had only read about in books. When Kate finally arrived at Cambridge University, she felt overwhelmed by how big and beautiful the campus was. Old brick buildings covered in ivy, students walking everywhere, carrying books and backpacks, professors in tweed jackets riding bicycles down tree-lined paths. Kate's dorm room was small but cozy with a view of the main quad. Her roommate was a girl named Jessica from California who was studying engineering. Jessica was friendly and talkative and helped Kate unpack her boxes. That night, Kate called William like she had promised. Hearing his voice made her homesick, but also happy. William told her about his day at the coffee shop and asked about her room and her roommate. They talked for 2 hours until Kate could barely keep her eyes open. "I miss you," Kate said before hanging up. "I miss you too," William replied. "But I am proud of you, Kate. You belong there." The first few weeks at Cambridge were hard. Kate's classes were more challenging than anything she had experienced in high school. She had to study for hours every night just to keep up. She felt homesick and lonely, especially when she saw other students who seemed to fit in so easily. But slowly things started to get better. Kate made friends in her education classes who shared her passion for teaching. She joined a volunteer program at a local elementary school that reminded her why she wanted to become a teacher. Her professors were brilliant and inspiring and pushed her to think in new ways. Kate and William talked every few days and texted regularly. William told her about getting promoted to assistant manager at the coffee shop. Kate told him about her classes and her new friends. They sent each other photos and care packages, but Kate could feel something changing between them. The conversations became shorter and sometimes felt forced. They were both building new lives that did not include each other. Kate was learning and growing in ways that William could not fully understand from 500 miles away. 3 months after Kate arrived at Cambridge, she received a letter from William. Not a text or an email, but an actual handwritten letter. Kate opened it with shaking hands, wondering what was so important that William had to write it down. The letter was beautiful and heartbreaking. William wrote about how proud he was of everything Kate was accomplishing. He wrote about how much he loved her and how grateful he was for their 3 years together. But he also wrote about how he could see that Kate was changing and growing, and that was exactly what should happen. William wrote that he did not want to hold Kate back from experiencing everything college had to offer. He wanted her to be free, to make new friends and try new things without feeling guilty about their relationship. He wrote that sometimes loving someone means letting them go. At the end of the letter, William wrote that he hoped they would both find love again someday. He hoped Kate would always remember their time together with happiness instead of sadness. He signed it with all my love. Always, William. Kate read the letter 3 times before she fully understood what William was saying. He was ending their relationship. He was setting her free. Kate cried harder than she had since leaving home. She was angry at William for making this decision without talking to her first. But she was also relieved in a way that surprised her. The pressure of maintaining a long-distance relationship while adjusting to college had been exhausting. Kate kept William's letter in her desk drawer next to the compass bracelet which she still wore every day. She thought about writing back, but decided that William was probably right. Sometimes love meant letting go. Over the next few months, Kate threw herself into her studies and her new life at Cambridge. She made close friends and joined clubs. She dated other people, but no one who made her feel the way William had. She was learning that first love was special and irreplaceable, but that didn't mean it was the only love she would ever have. A year later, Kate was walking across campus when she saw a couple saying goodbye at the main gate. The girl was clearly a student, and the boy looked like he was visiting from home. They were holding each other and crying just like Kate and William had done. Kate touched her compass bracelet and smiled. She hoped those two would find a way to make it work, but she also knew that even if they did not, their love was real and meaningful and would always be part of who they became. Kate had learned that some people come into your life to teach you how to love. William had taught her that she was worthy of being loved completely. He had taught her that love means supporting each other's dreams even when it hurts. Kate was grateful for William and their beautiful story together. She was also excited about all the stories still to come.